Call this budget hearing to order, and before we get started going into the actual meeting, let's ask Lindsay for her announcements.
Okay, commissioners, at your desk as you came in and sat, you should have seen a revised copy of the schedule. That is updated as of today. We have taken the capital improvement plan off of that schedule, and we'll work with you to schedule something for a little bit later after these hearings complete, probably for a little bit longer. So just wanted to give you an update on it. Thank you.
Very good. And I think right now we're ready for the Public Works budget hearing, so I'd like to recognize David Spears.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, David Spears, Director of Public Works, here for the 2017 budget presentation. Mission and services. Our mission: provide a safe and efficient transportation and drainage systems, provide essential services to protect the environment and the agricultural industry in Sedgwick County. The departments in our division are Highway Department, noxious weeds, storm drainage, household hazardous waste, environmental resources. Highway Department missions: provide a safe and efficient transportation system for Sedgwick County by effectively coordinating maintenance and appropriate construction. This is achieved through management of an ongoing preventive maintenance program and implementation of an aggressive capital improvement program. Tier 1 mission: provide a safe and efficient transportation system for Sedgwick County by effectively coordinating maintenance and appropriate construction. Highway Administration manages and provides administrative support for all public works functions. Engineering: provide engineering and surveying services required to manage the capital improvement program and support operation and maintenance of county infrastructure. Road and bridge maintenance: boots on the ground that construct and maintain county infrastructure. The 2017 request includes funding for services and property tax funds. Highway Administration program provides core management and administrative functions required to operate public works. 13 full-time employees located at the Public Works building and the steel oil yard. In engineering, the program is responsible for engineering, survey, and design, management of design contracts with outside consultants, and management of construction contracts and federally mandated bridge inspections. 11 FTEs made up entirely of engineers, surveyors, and engineering technicians. Manage preventive maintenance contracts for approximately 120 miles of roads each year, and inspection of approximately 600 bridges every 2 years. Road and bridge maintenance: perform road and bridge maintenance and repair, culvert and bridge replacement, snow and ice operations, mowing, traffic control, and various other tasks. 69.6 FTEs provide maintenance and construction services from 6 yard locations around the county. The road and bridge system includes approximately 600 bridges and 600 miles of roads. 2017 includes funding for services in non-tax funds. There are no non-tax funds. See 2016, 2017. This comes straight out of the book. The totals for 16: $26,094,998, and 2017, $26,394,704, increase of 1.15%. Summary: all funds. 16 was $10,323,030, and 17 $10,405,430, increase of 0.8%. And Mr. Weber will do the weeds, and I'll be back up in a little bit.
And Jim Weber, Deputy Director of Public Works. Get going here. So noxious weeds is a Tier 2 function, and their mission is to control and eradicate noxious weeds on all property within Sedgwick County. Their 2017 request for property tax funds includes control or eradication of weeds by county crews, or providing appropriate chemicals and advice to property owners at a reduced cost. And through that, they're treating about 8,900 acres per year. They have 5.5 full-time equivalents. They're working out of the Stillwell yard. This function primarily serves the agricultural sector of the economy. Noxious weeds threaten the productivity of the agricultural industry, so it's pretty important. There are no non-tax funds for noxious weeds. And their budget is about $514,000 for 2017. That's an increase of about 0.68%. And this is a summary of the funds, the expenditures. Again, it'll match up, and it's about 0.68% increase. Storm drainage, this again is Tier 2. So their mission is to enhance public safety and property values by minimizing property damage from flooding and erosion, protection of water quality, enforcement of local regulations, and compliance with federal and state law. So our stream maintenance, this function involves removing stream obstructions, and they maintain bank lines on designated streams. Flood control is a function that we fund. The county funds 50% of the operation and maintenance of the Wichita Valley Center Flood Control Project. And then our stormwater management function, we have it's a single point of contact for folks on drainage issues. Go a little more detail. So for 2017, our stream maintenance crew, again, clears channel obstructions, bridge obstructions. They support our other operations with the heavy equipment. I have an error in this line. It's 2 bulldozers and 2 tracked excavators, not track loaders. They're actually bigger than the loaders. They work out of the West Yard. They're responsible for 43 miles of channel where bank lines have been approved by the Kansas Division of Water Resources, and they do work in other channels as needed, and they do some good work with a pretty limited budget. Flood control, again, this is a joint city-county operation, so for our part, we send funding to the city. They manage the operation. The city crews are maintaining 97 miles of levees and over 5,600 acres of right-of-way. This is taking care of a critical infrastructure that protects Wichita, Park City, Valley Center, Hayesville, and some portions of unincorporated Sedgwick County from flooding on the Arkansas River system. It includes Chisholm Creek coming in from the east. Stormwater management, they coordinate the drainage projects for public works. They review drainage plans for new developments, provide engineering for implementation of the stormwater regulations and issuance. They work with environmental resources on issuance of stormwater permits. They coordinate for us, for our projects. It's quite an effort just to get all the permits lined up, the state and federal permits. This is where that happens, coordination of the permits for federal and state agencies. They provide staff support for the Stormwater Management Advisory Board, and this is 1 full-time equivalent working out of our building on Stillwell. No non-tax funds for stormwater drainage. This is the summary for all the 3 drainage functions we just talked about. It's about $1.7 million. This is showing an increase of about 1.35%. Same numbers, just a different view based on expenditures, the various expenditure categories. Again, about a 1.35% increase for the 2017 request. Turn it over to Susan.
Hi, Susan Earlewine, Director of Environmental Resources. This is a Tier 2 function. We receive funding from both general fund and the solid waste fee, so I'll be reviewing both of those. Our mission is really to work at quality of life for the community, and we do that by working with citizens, businesses, and local governments on trying to help them with environmental issues and making sure they are in compliance along with county, that we're in compliance as well. Part of that is we work with stormwater regulations, as Jim just mentioned, and I'll go into these in more detail in a couple slides. Compliance, hazard communication training for our employees, compliance with environmental issues, and do technical research for other departments and for the commissioners. And we also have a memorandum of understanding with the Conservation District where we supply them with staffing, myself, and office space and some funding. The solid waste fee side of that, we work with maintaining the solid waste plan, updating it every year, working with budget on the solid waste fee. We have solid waste enforcement that goes out and inspects the facilities. We work with waste minimization and special projects to help clean up our community. Again, more detail on those in a little bit. On the property tax side with the stormwater, we have staff that work with the Stormwater Management Advisory Board. Actually, I'm also staff to that group. And last year we had 10 businesses that we provided permits for and reviewed their projects as they were developed out in the county. We inspect the acreage that's being developed, 1 acre or greater, and make sure that they are in compliance. And we don't go out and find them. What we do is we help them get into compliance if there's an issue. And we have what was required by the state, annual outfall inspections, where we go out and check to make sure there's not illegal water dumping, salt water dumping. We've found that before, or any other issues out in the county. We're required by the state to do surface water testing as the water body comes into our county, into other areas. They've outlined what we need to do, such as Lake Afton. We have to test the water there when the water's leaving the county, and they tell us what samples we need to take, whether it's E. coli bacteria, phosphates, nitrates, etc. So we're anticipating 168 water samples next year. We also work with departments. We check how they're storing chemicals, if they have the material safety data sheets that are correct and easy to find, if they have the proper protective equipment. And again, technical advisory on air quality. We've only out one ozone day this year, and that was back on April 4th when we had wind from the east in the Flint Hills blowing the smoke in our direction. But water quality, water quantity issues, we help provide information on all of those. And we provide funding to the Conservation District and work with landowners on their best management practices to make sure that they slow down the sediment runoff into the streams, which can cause algae growth if you have a lot of phosphates with that. We had 36 best management practices last year that were funded through the state that we passed down to local landowners. In non-tax funds, we have the solid waste fee, which you will vote on June 8th this year, is be brought before you. Project management, we work with the Solid Waste Committee, developing the plan, updating it, and working on how we can improve solid waste in our community. We inspect the facilities, the 2 construction and demolition landfills, and the 2 transfer stations on a weekly basis. And if there are any issues, we resolve those. We also work in minimizing waste, whether that's storm debris and the new equipment we got for that. We were out in Goddard in January with the ice storm and helped them dispose of the material through our new chipper. And special projects such as the tire roundup we had last April, over 222,000 tires were recovered. And we have a coupon program to help citizens get rid of bulky material that they can't otherwise. We just had that Oak Lawn cleanup a few weeks ago, and at that one, we collected over 267,000 pounds of material and disposed of it. So that's the sort of thing we do through special projects. You can see our funding for environmental resources. The general fund is under $93,000. The solid waste fund is about $815,000. The increases you see is due to personnel. It's the numbers the budget gave us. And overall, you can see how those are broken up into categories of personnel, contractuals, no debt service, commodities, and equipment. Also, the solid waste fee pays for the household hazardous waste facility. And as you know, there we have it open for people to bring household hazardous waste to the facility. We have a swap area where they can pick up chemicals that are still in good condition. And we have remote events, and we just had a remote event in Goddard this past Saturday. It went very well. In a little more detail, last year we handled over 1 million pounds of household hazardous waste from over 23,000 citizens. And we also received over 64,000 pounds from 283 businesses. So we have a lot of business coming into our facility. The swap area, we had over 9,500 customers take out almost 137,000 pounds of material. Had we had to pay for that material, it would have cost us almost $99,000 in disposal costs. So that swap area saves us quite a bit of money. We have 5 remote events every year. Last year, we collected over 232,000 pounds from over 1,100 participants at those. And we have 3 more events coming up in June for the remotes. And you can see the budget is just over $1 million for the household hazardous waste facility for next year. And there you can see broken into the different categories, just like everything, personnel is the highest cost.
Okay. Have one Public Works efficiency story to tell you, which is a pretty big story, I think. We were approached by local contractors who developed an improved process for construction of cement stabilized road base. It's actually a liquid, what they call super slurry. The county asphalt plant, or pug mill as it's also called, needed to be replaced, and that would have cost up to $2 million. It's very old, and so we started looking into this and decided to make a hybrid of this super slurry and then we put a chip seal on it. So the hybrid name we came up with was Super Seal, and we do about 5 miles of that per year now. It replaces the coal mix asphalt, and we think this is better now because it's got a 10-inch cement treated base, and so you're actually building the road from the bottom up. And we continue to improve on this year by year. We're going to start doing some different things, like maybe putting a Nova chip on top of it, trying to get it a little bit smoother, and just keep building it up. And the other nice thing is it's a lot cheaper than a hot mix road, and so we see many applications for this in the future. Benefits: lower material cost because it uses existing roadbed materials. It eliminates the need for the pug mill or the $2 million equipment replacement, and it extends the life of roads. So that is our efficiency story.
Back again, and we'll start talking about the decision packages. So that's in your volume 2, page 149, I guess. So the first package that we have is a request to add compact excavating equipment. Several years ago, we moved away from building timber bridges replacements in favor of precast reinforced concrete boxes. They last longer, and I think it's probably a little bit cheaper to build them, but it's a very good way to go. The compact equipment would increase the efficiency of installation, increase the number of boxes that we could complete annually. The request is about $181,000. It's not involve any additional personnel. It's just trying to supplement the equipment that we have so that the personnel we have can get a little farther. This is what we're talking about. If you, it'd be 2 pieces of equipment in this package. The left one is a compact excavator, a little backhoe on tracks, and then the right one is a skid steer loader, but it's a track version. And so this equipment needs to get down. Basically, when we do one of these bridge replacements with the concrete boxes, they're generally working in a live stream, so it can be kind of mucky, but we need something that's small enough to work in the holes that we have, but that can actually maneuver in it. So that's request number 1. For number 2, we want to add 1 more crack sealing machine to the fleet. About 10 years ago, there was a move on to eliminate what was deemed to be low-use equipment, and because of the way our workload was that year, we had 4 crack sealers. We lost one because one of them didn't get used very much that year, and we're trying to get the 4th one back. And that way, the 4 yards can all do crack sealing simultaneously instead of trying to share these pieces of equipment around. It's about a $43,000 request. No additional people needed. This is a picture of one of the crack sealing machines. We're looking for the identical machine. The third one is a bale buster. We've had to get into erosion control work more than we ever thought we would with the environmental regulations that are out there. And so, addition of a bale buster, and here's a picture of that. We have a problem mulching. We can get the seeding down. We have trouble mulching. So this particular machine would go behind a tractor and it takes these big round bales and tears them up and distributes them so that you actually have can mulch the grass seed that you put down. This would be more efficient in terms of installation, but would also be efficient because if we can get it down in one seating, one pass, one stand, and get it in and get out of there, we save time because we need to get a 70% stand of grass. So if we don't get it the first time, we're going to be back in the next seeding season planting again and again until we get enough growing. So it'll be helpful. Let Susan talk about this revenue package.
When the county developed this transfer station resolutions, we included a 32 cents per ton fee at the transfer stations to help reimburse the county for our expenses of going out there and inspecting them on a weekly basis and any issues that arrive at the facilities. That fee has not changed since 2001, but our costs of providing the service have changed. Looking at the mileage, the gasoline, the cost of employee to go out and do that, our costs have increased by 45% since 2001. And I've also looked at the tipping fee and what the stations charge the general public for bringing the trash in, and their costs have increased by 51% over that same time period that they've raised their fees to the public. So my recommendation would be to look at increasing our regulatory fee from 32 cents to 46 cents per ton. That would gain us an additional $54,966 based on the tonnage of last year that went into those transfer stations.
Public Works did not submit any alternative reduction proposals. This is just a summary for all of Public Works, and I think, again, the total budget's around $30,500,000, and based on everything, that'd be about a 1.2% increase over 2016. This is just a summary of the decision packages. If you were to approve all of those decision packages, it'd be about $275,000. And this is the summary sheet. There's just the one, about a $55,000 revenue package from an increase in the solid waste fee that Susan just spoke about. We did not submit any alternative reduction proposals. Maybe that's a duplicate slide. So I think we're done, and Dave would be happy to stand and answer any questions you might have. Oh, I'm already up here.
Who knows who we'll be asking questions to, but we'll see what happens.
Right.
Commissioner Peter-John?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Let me begin. In terms of the excavator decision package, can you give me a ballpark idea how many of these concrete box bridges could be installed if we replaced all the wood bridges? And I guess that presupposes the question, how many wood bridges do we have in Sedgwick County at the moment that are the county responsibility? Of the five, let's see, you said approximately 600 bridges countywide.
I think I'm going to expand that a little bit, because when we're doing these projects, a bridge is defined as being 20 feet long. So we have a lot of wood structures that are 19 and a half feet long. They're not in the 600. There are some that are 22 feet long or whatever that are in the 600. So we're really dealing in both piles. So in the 600, I don't know, out of the 600, I don't know the number. We could probably figure it out how many of those are timber bridges. A lot of the ones we need to do, though, that we don't have an inventory of are those structures that are under 20 feet long. And there are probably literally 1,500 of those. We could have twice as many of those size structures as we do of the big ones. And so we're looking at doing, right now we do both on both sides of that fence. We do both as we go. So.
Wait, since you've expanded your answer, I'm going to expand my question, because you've just raised a point. I've sometimes used the figure that I was given to pass 582 bridges in Sedgwick County. And of course, the data you presented here was 600. But here's my expansion. If you're defining a bridge, and I was defining a county bridge as having an opening underneath it that's more than 25 square feet. If you're defining a bridge as greater than 20 feet in length on the surface of the bridge, how many, I'm not sure what to call them, almost bridges do we have in Sedgwick County that are less than 20 feet but are the county's responsibility that they meet that 25 square foot criteria?
We don't have an inventoried number of those bridges. I'm estimating that's 1,500. And to get really technical, it's actually 593 bridges. Those
593?
593 is the actual number. We'd like to say 600 because, the bridge engineer adds one week and takes one off the next week. So it kind of goes back and forth. But those are based on the federal definition, which is 20 feet long.
Okay.
Okay. There is a state definition for bridges, which is 20 feet long or more than 25 square feet. That will never show up on the federal inventory because they're not big enough for that inventory, but this is a group of bridges that we're doing a lot of work in that are failing. I call them bridges. Some of them might be box culverts, but what I'm saying is we don't have a full inventory of that, but based on what I know, I'm guessing it's 1,500 of those in that category. And those are, a lot of them are going to be on township roads because even though it's a township maintained road, if that bridge is less than 20 feet long but greater than 25 square feet, that's a county bridge, a county structure. They have to replace. So.
Well, I guess, can you give me a ballpark idea of how many of these almost bridges we have in Sedgwick County that are the county's responsibility?
I couldn't tell you that today, but we can try to figure that number out or try to get a better estimate for you.
Okay, let me try it this way. Is it a significant number?
Yes, I think it's at least twice what we have for actual federal bridges.
Really? And as much as twice?
3? Yeah.
Wow.
It's a lot. Yes, bail me out, please.
No bailout necessary. We don't have an inventory on it. It's big. And then if you count just the pipes, I'm going to tell you we probably got 10,000 of those
Well, in terms of
that are under the 20, way under the 25 square feet and not even the box size. So it's big, and we keep very busy doing this.
Yeah, but when you say pipes, I'm thinking if a pipe's under 25 square feet, that's not ours, is it?
If it's on our road.
If it's on our road, it is.
If it's on a county road, okay.
Yeah, you have
I was thinking
18
township,
inch, 24 inch, 30 inch, 36, just all sizes. They can be across the road. They can also be in a driveway.
Sure. No, and part of the easement. No, I understand. I understand that in terms of the pipes. I was thinking in terms of the criteria of what you had with when you've got an almost bridge, and when you show us the map of the county that shows all the county road projects, and it's got all the what I thought were bridges marked, are we talking federal bridges, or are we talking some of these almost bridges in that map that you've given me?
They're not the almost bridges. The almost bridges we don't even confuse you with because there are so many of them. We work on those, and we don't bring that up usually except here today. But the ones on the map, the 593, that's the big bridges.
Wow.
That's the ones that's in the CIP. The others, usually not even in the CIP. It's just things that we do. They go bad. If it's a pipe, it'll rust. Things happen. If it's a wooden bridge, the nails or screws come out of it, and then we got to replace things. So it's just part of routine maintenance.
Well, I'm not interested in the tubes, whether they're 18 inch or 36 inch or any other measurement, but I am interested in terms of understanding if we've got a responsibility because they meet that 25 square foot opening and getting to the point in terms of, let me try and bring this back in terms of your request for this decision package. Do we have any sort of an idea of how many of these concrete bridges we could put in place instead of doing wood bridges, regardless of whether they're more or less than 20 feet in terms of their length?
I don't have that number.
I mean, I'm trying to understand how significant this would be if we'd go ahead and give you the authority to do it, because I know we've contracted out, and private sector winners of county bridge work who put in those bridges, I've seen them on a number of occasions where they're using basically the same thing, and I'm trying to understand, does it make sense for us in terms of the volume of business? If we were trying to amortize this, dare I say this word for Chris's benefit, depreciation, per project, understanding whether this would make sense to make this acquisition or not.
Davis set a goal for us of trying to replace 12 bridges a year. actual federal bridges. To do that, we're bidding out, it varies every year, somewhere between maybe 5 and 7 bridges a year. To make up the difference for Dave, at his insistence, we got the crews out trying to find the right kind of bridges to do in-house so that we can do another half a dozen or so with box replacements right now. That's what we've been doing for the last several years. If we had this equipment, we think we'd be able to increase our efficiency in terms of moving around down in there and keeping things going. I don't know that, I'm looking at maybe that's not 6, maybe that's 8, or maybe it's 9 that we do in-house a year.
Okay.
Not to mention the other places that we could use this type of equipment. So it's an attempt to increase efficiency with equipment to increase the number of bridges that we can get to without adding any people. And I think the other thing I would just say is we do have to kind of go through a process. There are bridges that we could theoretically do, but because of it being on a high volume road, the paving that would have to be done, all the other things that would have to go with it, we choose those to go out for bids, to contract them. If it's in a lower volume place and the dirt work isn't, as massive and we just don't have as much to deal with, we'll choose those to do with our own people. So it's a selection process that we just kind of are continually working through to get the right ones.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Other questions, Commissioners? I'm curious, can you tell me again what happened to that other crack sealer? I didn't quite understand the explanation there.
Okay.
There was a year in the budget many years ago that somebody come up with the idea that if you weren't using equipment, you need to get rid of it and sell it. So it was low usage, called low usage equipment. Well, that particular year that happened, that yard, some other things came up that there was more of a priority, so they didn't use it. So the county then sold that piece of equipment, which is very useful. My argument on low usage equipment, I was against getting rid of any low usage equipment actually, is that it's like you have a hammer out in your garage. You don't use that hammer every day, but when you need that hammer, you really need it. And this is the same thing with the crack sealer. We don't use it every day.
Okay. I understand that now. That's a good explanation. And then can you talk about the bail buster? How do you do that now without that piece of equipment?
The what?
The bail buster you guys talked about?
Oh, the bail buster.
How do you handle that need right now without that equipment in our inventory?
By hand.
Really?
And that serves as a mulch to try to keep the seed down, so it doesn't blow away.
Wow. I didn't expect that to be the answer. Okay, but that's very interesting. I'm glad you identified this as a need. I can't imagine doing that by hand, but okay. Any other questions, Commissioners? All right, I don't see any other questions.
All right.
So I think you're done.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much for a good presentation. Mr. Manager, are we going to move forward at this point? I don't see Steve Clausen. Oh, there's Tanya. Okay. We'll give just a few minutes here.
And Commissioners, when we get back, we'll be on page 108 of Volume 1. And they will have some decision packages in Volume 2 starting on page 18. But we'll kind of jump through that section.
Page 18.
Decision package page again.
18 in Volume 2.
18. Okay.
Whoa, Steve, where did you come from? He really did disappear from nowhere. Yes. Would you mind if I turn down a little bit?
It's not a lot different.
Over here it's an 18, but I don't know about the other.
Page 109 in Volume 1. 108, I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Looks like they're about to start. I don't want to. I'll be fine. I can pull up my sleeves. I know. That is probably, but I'm doing everyone a favor by keeping it.
All right, I think we're ready for you.
Okay. Good afternoon. Steve Clausen, Facilities, Fleet, and Parks Director. Briefing you on our three departments. See if I can get oriented here.
Is there a handout for this one? Okay. Commissioners, again, we're on page 19 of the Volume 2 and 108 of Volume 1. Sorry, Steve, you may continue.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, I'm going to start with the Facilities Department. Its mission is to provide accessible, safe, efficient, and highly productive buildings and structures where citizens and employees are able to conduct their business and access needed services. The programs within the Facilities Department are the Maintenance Department, Project Services, and Courthouse Police. All three of these are tax-supported programs. Maintenance, Project Services, and Courthouse Police are all property tax-supported Tier 2 functions, according to county manager's guidelines and principles. Maintenance operates and maintains most of the county facilities. Project Services leads new building projects, alterations of existing planning, and property lease administration. Courthouse Police ensures security at the main and juvenile courthouse campuses. These three programs within facilities enable Tier 1 functions to operate properly, and it enables them to operate. Both the general public and employees are our customers, and internal staff and external vendors are relied on for our service delivery. Effective work environments that are safe and pleasant are necessary for the public and our employees. More details for the Maintenance Department. I've broken them down into two subcategories: preventative maintenance and reactive repair work examples. Examples of preventative service are filter changes, lubrication, coil cleaning, cooling tower and chemical water treatment, eddy current testing and vibration analysis in some of the bigger industrial equipment, fire extinguisher and fire suppression maintenance, and landscape and snow removal maintenance. Reactive types of repair operations are the breakdowns of the cooling, HVAC equipment, the plumbing, the electrical systems, hardware, door, flooring, and sidewalk repairs, the pumps, valves, piping services that are needed, and lamp and ballast replacements. Talking about the maintenance budget, I think it's important to understand how this large budget, how it's made up. 37% of the maintenance budget is just to pay the utility bills. 31% is made up of personnel expenses. 15% is the cost of repairs and services. 8% provides for the repair parts, and that budget also pays for all the bathroom paper products and so forth. And then another big contract making up 9% of the budget is just paying the custodial outside services vendor. Maintenance uses key performance indicators of cost per square foot, which is down to 30 cents per square foot. It uses a customer service rating of, and in 2015 it's 1.45. That's on a 1 best, 4 worst scale. And maintenance uses a percentage of useful life remaining for all HVAC and roofs. So all of our inventory of buildings for both the roofs and the HVAC equipment, we project what the expected useful life is and where it's at on that continuum. For Project Services program, it implements and administrates the CIP program. They work to determine and evaluate the needs of the organization, providing project management. They provide stakeholder coordination through the different construction processes that they work with. They manage our ADA projects that leads us closer toward full ADA compliance. Managing also the leased properties, which currently amount to 217,000 square feet of property, and we spend $1.9 million annually on those leases. They also provide oversight and coordination of the department's remodels and configurations. Project Services is 99% personnel expenses for its budget. There are 3 full-time people in that department, and it is tax supported. Its key performance indicators are a customer service rating of 1.19 on that 1 to 4 scale. They track the value of CIP projects managed per manager at 4.1 million, and they track the number of projects managed per manager of 12. And those do not include many. That probably represents about half the projects they do. Half their projects are CIP, and many more are office configurations, workstation configurations, and the like. Now moving to Courthouse Police, they provide secure weapons-free environments at the courthouses, screening visitors to ensure weapons are not present in buildings with adequate security measures. They provide 24/7 preventative patrols at downtown campus, preventing crime and minimizing exposure to risk from after-hours fires, water leaks, and vandalism. They serve as responders to incidents outside the district court and assist when called on inside those courtrooms. They provide courtroom security for the domestic court. They are a presence in the protection from abuse and stalking courts, and they administrate and oversee the parking garage contract. And they also are always serving the public, answering questions, and providing directions where necessary. Courthouse Police is another department that is nearly all personnel driven. There are 26.31 full-time equivalents in that department, in that 24/7, 365-day tax-supported department. Their key performance indicators are training hours. This is a statutory requirement to provide training for our law enforcement folks. It's 39.6, pretty much right on where it needs to be. The number of annual screenings done in 2015 were 736,000. The number of weapons prevented in 2015 was 5,800, and the customer service rating for this department is 1.28. Their facilities has no non-tax funds to report. So getting to our budget, you can see that it's essentially flat. Yeah, in this slide here, the slight difference from 2016 to 17 is primarily due to the interfund transfer that occurred in 2016. So other than that, as you can see, it's a relatively flat budget. Next, talking about the fleet department. The fleet is a tier 2 department providing support for the other tiers 1, 2, and 3. Its mission is to provide proper vehicles and equipment, effective fuel service, and high-quality, timely maintenance and repairs to meet operational needs of supported Sedgwick County government and departments. Its core services provide the right vehicles, equipment, together with timely maintenance and repair. The purpose is to minimize equipment downtime and disruption to keep the fleet up and running for the ambulances, patrol cars, snow plows, and so forth. The beneficiaries are the 1, 2, and 3 tier organizations internally, but the citizens are the indirect beneficiaries, of course, again, relying on the public safety equipment. The needs that are addressed are the provision of these indispensable tools to the different departments, and the services are delivered mostly using internal fleet staff. In 2017, requests for funding for services in the property tax funds are just the one. That's the radio shop maintenance program. It provides service and maintenance for communications equipment used by County Emergency Communications Center and most other public safety agencies throughout the Sedgwick County area, including the city of Wichita. The non-tax funds are several within the fleet department. The first one is the Fleet Administration Department or program. This program provides the administration and planning for fleet. Heavy equipment maintains all vehicles and equipment with a gross weight of 1 ton or greater. They provide preventative maintenance and unscheduled maintenance to reduce vehicle downtime. Public Works is heavy equipment shop's primary largest customer, and the fleet availability is a metric that they use, and it's at a very high 96.8%. The fuel program is a program that provides fuel and car wash services to all the Sedgwick County vehicles and equipment from multiple fueling stations at the main yard and various public works yards. Fuel tanks and pumps must be monitored on a daily basis to stay in compliance with KDHE, and there's a lot of paperwork that goes along with that the folks in the fuel department comply with. Body shop services is another program in the fleet department. It is one that has been outsourced. It's a vendor-provided program, and of course does the just repair on the damaged vehicles, whether it be storm or wrecks or whatever the case may be. But that's the decision to outsource that body shop several years ago has been one that I think is paying dividends to us at this time. The light equipment shop is the other end of the heavy shop. It does everything under 1 ton, focusing primarily on preventative maintenance. They do repairs as well, of course, and safety inspections. Light equipment shop's biggest customer is Sheriff and EMS. They also, this light equipment shop also does the new vehicle setups for the patrol cars and EMS ambulances, putting in all the accessory materials in those different setup vehicles. Its availability metric is 97.6%. The vehicle acquisition program provides replacement of existing vehicles and equipment that meet replacement criteria. Replacing vehicles at a pre-established mileage or age help to keep reliability high while keeping the cost per mile at a minimum. Non-taxed funds in the fleet department are as follows. The fleet airplane is an outsourced program that the fleet pays for. It supports the sheriff's airplane. It pays for all the fuel expenses, monthly hangar fees, any unscheduled repairs, and so forth. And the airplane in 2015 flew 475 hours. And finally, the vehicle acquisition contingency program provides a source of funding for emergency equipment acquisitions and any large unforeseeable fluctuations in the cost of fuel. That fund hasn't been used by fleet for several years, and any use of that fund would require budget commission approval, so it's very inactive. The fleet budget once again, is quite flat, as you can see here in the comparison of 16 and 17 numbers. This is another way of looking at it. Just pretty much flat. Are there any questions on fleet before I start talking about parks?
Any questions, commissioners? My only question would be on slide number 18. There's not a lot of breakdown there as to what the increase is for. Just
Slide 18.
yeah,
Let me get.
it just shows an increase there of, I don't know, 0.7%, whatever that is.
Uh-huh.
I'm not sure if we understood exactly where the increase is going. What's it for? But,
Slide 18, right?
yeah.
We'll look at slide 19, though, it breaks down.
Oh, okay, I see.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, there we go. I see.
I
Yes,
jumped too
yes.
soon. I apologize.
Thank you.
That helps. Okay.
Moving then to Parks Department. Parks is a Tier 3 function and is a component of the Culture and Recreation Division. Its mission is to provide a recreational experience that's attractive, safe, and efficient by providing quality facilities and events for the public to enjoy. Park locations are, at, as you know, Lake Afton, a 258-acre lake, 720-acre site. Sedgwick County Park, being a 400-acre park with 4 small lakes, and Northeast Sedgwick County Park, being a 640-acre unimproved parkland. Sedgwick County residents are the park's primary beneficiaries, customers, providing them with an outdoor recreational experience. Parks are managed and maintained by internal park staff. Parks budget property tax funds are the Sedgwick County Park. There are approximately 1 million visitors that visit that park annually. Multiple playgrounds, modern bathrooms, climate-controlled meeting rooms for rent, hike and bike trails, and fishing are among the activities available at that well-maintained park. Many large and small community events, as we all know, also take place and rent the Sedgwick County Park. At Lake Afton, it's similar, a little more remote, but offers many of the same things. 58,000 people per month during the season. It doesn't happen in January and February, but in the high season we see about 58,000 visitors per month. Swimming, boating, and camping are the additional activities offered at Afton Park beyond those offered at Sedgwick County Park. And as we've been talking about, the bait and snack store is now open, and in 2015 had 52,000 annual transactions. And then I'll mention Northeast Sedgwick County Park because we now have the rules posted. Parking is established out there, boundary signs and fence. While not entirely done, I'm going to say is 80% done, will be done this month. So we've made some headway with Northeast Sedgwick County Park. The 2017 request for non-tax funds is the Special Parks and Recreation Fund. It's in 2016. It's a $36,960 expectation for that fund. We intend to use that money for the replacement of some benches and swings at Sedgwick County Park. We intend to, I think we've already replaced the fishing dock at Lake Afton using that money, and we're about 90% of the way in having the rebuilt waste station at Lake Afton using those dollars. And then the other program is the fisheries program in the amount of $43,795, and that's a Kansas Department of Wildlife and Parks program that provides the dollars and the fish for stocking both Lake Afton and Sedgwick County Park. There's not a lot for me to say about these flat budgets, I don't think. They're essentially flat. I did spend a little bit of time thinking about stories of efficiencies. I'm going to first briefly talk about the consolidated maintenance that occurred several years ago. We also called it eliminating silos. The primary people involved in that consolidation, which was a dollar saver, was the corrections and the ComCare departments combining with the facilities maintenance department. They formerly were just independent organizations, each trying to do business as they best saw fit. Facilities maintenance, being the largest department providing these services, offered a consolidation approach. When we implemented that together with the cooperation of these departments, we are seeing about $200,000 annually in reduced, and that's primarily people expenses. And it permits us to better leverage the expertise that we do have. We've got some crackerjack people with respect to electrical and some with HVAC, and we can extend that expertise over this larger building inventory, and I think the county's the big winner in that. I wanted to mention too a little story. This is just one example. At the 271 building, we had to remove vinyl wall covering from the exterior walls. This would be on the inside surface of all the exterior walls, just to ensure it's kind of a bad practice what had been done there. And we needed to get that vinyl wall covering off. It appeared we were going to spend about $10,000 doing that. Our maintenance staff believed that they could take care of that themselves, and we gave them a window of several weeks to get that accomplished, and I'm pleased that that is done, and we saved the county taxpayers a pretty tidy sum there. So, and we've got a great work product. And there's several other things. We're replacing we're moving to LED lights in that building. There's about 70 damper actuators that are questionable. Our maintenance department is just going to replace those, and I think we're going to have a reliable, comfortable building to reside in when we get fully moved in. I wanted to mention the outsourcing of parts that was done, I think it's just right at 3 years ago now, in the fleet department. Fleet had been maintaining their own extensive parts inventory and a staff to manage that for many, many years. Fleet issued a RFP to see if there's a vendor that could do that same work for us without compromise, and the change saves us about $120,000 in personnel expenses, and we feel like if it's hard to quantify some of the efficiencies that we have, but we do think that we're spending less time researching where to get parts and so forth, so there's other efficiencies beyond this $120,000 that's indicated here, but that's a real success story that is ongoing. And I wanted to mention too the Parks Department. This is just one example. The Parks Department regularly does stuff way beyond just maintaining their parks. In this circumstance, Plum Shelter, we had a CIP to replace a termite destroyed building. Mark Strofe and his staff believed that they could use the off-season months to at least act as the general contractor in some areas and do the physical work themselves. And we've saved some money there, but I think we really ended up with even a higher quality product at the Plum Shelter that I think we're going to see in our next brown bag. So we'll enjoy that. Decision packages. The first one should be on page 18, or starts on page 18 of your booklet. Is that right, Lindsay? Okay. Yeah. This is a request. There is no operational budget for the 271 building, and of course we're going to certainly need an operational budget for that building. This request is for $409,000. It includes one FTE. I think I'm going to ask you to go to page 21 where there's a table of contents. Greg Tuxhorn from Maintenance is not here today, but he did a nice job in putting this together for us, breaking it down into the component parts. And you can see the first section is just what the utilities expenses are, electrical, natural gas, water. We'll have a little bit of telephone for an analog line that provides service for our security system. And each one of those are then detailed on the subsequent pages. Under the contractuals, we know we're going to have annual fire alarms. That's a statutory requirement to have those annually tested. Sprinkler systems have to be tested each year. And just go right on down the line with elevator maintenance service contracts. The custodial services contract, this will provide the custodial services for the entire building. We right now only have 3 floors identified, but we're convinced that we're going to fill that building up in the not too distant future. And so this supplemental or this decision package provides for that full building being serviced. Provides for the waste disposal. The building is provided with a cooling tower to dissipate the heat from the building. That requires chemical water treatment of the cooling tower. That's about a $4,000 annual expense. Of course, we'll have pest control. We will have some on-call other contracted vendors. I think I'm going to ask you, if you would, is to look on page 25, which speaks to the staffing component of this. Let's read the first couple of sentences here because I think they tell the story pretty well. Facility Maintenance Services is requesting one semi-skilled grade level 115 FTE for the helping us with this servicing this building. The building has around 95,000 square feet. If you look at the IFMA, International Facility Management Association benchmarks, or just about any benchmarks, the norms are around 40,000 square feet per employee. So using that numbers, this would ordinarily indicate that we would be asking for 2. We think we can get by with just the 1. And I will brag on this department a little bit as well. If you look at the 2 million square feet that are being serviced today and divide the total number of square feet that we provide that service in, 63,000 is the metric that you come up with. So I think asking for the 1 will get us where we need to be, and I think we can take care of that building satisfactorily with that. Adding all that together, it's a $409,000 request. The second decision package is this is just the annual utility rate increase. I told you that I think it's 37% of our maintenance budget pays for is consumed by the payment of these utilities. 5% escalation is one we've used for I think the last 3 years now, and it's really it's been a close estimate, and that's what's going on here. It's using that 5% escalation over what we have been paying. And what we do is we do a 3-year average of the previous expenses and tag on that 5% extra, and that's how we get to this $108,000 number. The third decision package is for an uninterruptible power supply service agreement for the detention facility. And the new master control system that we finished in the detention facility last year is relied on for all the operational control and is backed up by a state-of-the-art system that relies on the uninterruptible power supply. All the 384 cameras that were added to that building are all dumping their information to servers the controlling the doors, controlling the elevators, controlling the intercoms is all the heart of the system is this master control system, and it's all dependent on the UPS. Just like the UPSs, I think there are 3 of them in the data center. This is really exactly the same thing, and I just feel like we need to depend on a outside vendor to ensure that this is serviced satisfactorily, and we have dependable service with that. The 4th decision package and last is a request for $10,000 into the parks budget. This is to pay for City of Wichita water that the Parks Department has been consuming over the years, and it's water that flows through the zoo's city water meter. So for years, we've tapped off the zoo's water service, and the cost of water, the volume of water is becoming more difficult for the zoo to feel okay about just tolerating, and so they're going to be sending us a bill. Now what we've done, we've installed a meter, a sub-meter. It would cost far too much to bring a new line in off the main utility. So it makes sense to just meter this water and pay them the actual cost of it. $10,000 is probably on the slim side, but we'll know specifically how much water gets consumed, and this permits us to reimburse the zoo for the water that we're consuming. So those 4 decision packages add up to this $537,000 total. This slide represents our total budget request. I don't have anything else. I would stand for your questions.
All right. Commissioners, what questions do you have? I'll ask questions later. I think I'm good for now.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah, we got off easy. Okay. Mr. Manager, shall we continue or take a break?
Are you ready to go? Without taking a break?
Yeah, my staff is going to come over.
Let's go ahead and take a 10-minute break and come back here at 8 minutes to 3, please. Thank you.